I'm always tempted to do the episode reader's voice like in that gap. I don't know, maybe next time. Greetings and beatings and welcome to We Are the Geek. I am Uncle Yo, and so you know, the show is a go. Thanks for downloading and thanks for listening. Hi. Never quite sure what to call these little wrap-up projects of ours because We Are the Geek remains on the Libsyn website, and you can learn and listen to all the old news, reviews, and interviews if you wish. They're right down below on the Libsyn page. And this isn't quite an episode of Chroniclers of Darkness either. It's kind of a post-game discussion, house cleaning, after-school time with you guys, just to check in and let you know how I'm doing, how we appreciate all the support. I wanted to thank everyone for their continued support of our Hunter the Vigil story. Not everybody's favorite game, but I always say it's a great toe dipper for new players into either the system or the fluff of the world of Darkness itself. By playing Hunter, you get a sense of how powerful, clever, and dangerous the monsters are by being the average Joe or Jane. Average World of Darkness mortals are not as OP as, say, D&D characters, and unless you are spec'd for a fight, you're going down and you're going down quick. Hunter the Vigil sets ordinary people of various backgrounds in a position to hunt and observe and maybe try to thwart the supernatural in a world populated by monsters, hiding behind human flesh, or just out of your sight, lurking right in the shadows. If you want to get friends involved, it's hard to not name a show or movie that can set the tone and the pitch and the rhythm very easily. Supernatural, of course, it's the first one that should always come to your mind. Torchwood, The X-Files, Millennium, Predator 2, Fringe, and partially Stranger Things, even though it is a very, very Changeling the Lost story in nature. My favorite Hunter stories are people versus people, where the taint of the supernatural is felt but never touched, shown but not told. It requires a very delicate touch. And World of Darkness gives you so many ways to play off that grounded, relatable level of paranoia. Vampires, they have their human ghouls that do their bidding. Humans endowed with their blood and abilities to do anything that they want to protect their masters during the daylight hours. So someone will have vampiric abilities, but they'll be in a bank in the middle of the day. What is happening now? And then in the second game, you've got werewolves. They have their wolf-blooded family members, and they still travel in a pack, and they will still operate and keep their full-blooded werewolf cousins and family members protected no matter what, while their werewolves, grow big and furry and go off into the spirit world to save Yugi and Kaiba from being devoured by shadows. Changelings even have the ensorcelled. It's a pledge and a contract that they can do with a mortal person. And the ensorcelled can see through a changeling mask, which, unless you are a mage looking for it directly, nothing else can do that. But the ensorcelled don't really have any abilities save for complicated pledges or spells cast over them. And there's nothing more frustrating for a hunter than spending an entire week of reconnaissance, and then you spring the trap and you capture someone only to realize they were just a hapless pawn. Now you've got to play cover-up or induct them. A future goal of mine would be to have a story entirely composed of these second-tier threshold characters just aware of the horror, but more like enhanced humans than full-on monsters. Like two ghouls of opposite vampires hunting each other from a distance, or a snooping neighbor getting too close to an awakened mage next door, and who she's willing to call upon to save her family. What is she willing to do to hurt someone just out of a suspicion? The extended duels are great films like No Country for Old Men, Enemy at the Gate, or to a lesser extent Death Note. You can feel the palpable chase in these films. Catch Me If You Can is a lighter take on a chase movie. But our particular story, Neighborhood Watch, I wrote it as I went along episode by episode. Now, once Malcolm Ray had signed on to do the series last summer, I knew I had to do something for him. I had hoped that I could include him in the vampire or the changeling story, but schedules ended up getting clashed, and he wasn't available until the Hunter story. I knew we had to throw him into something. Big thanks to him and my cousin Carly and League of Legends and Skullgirl's own Danielle McRae for some of the extra voices. I never had someone agree to play multiple characters in a single series because I don't want to overuse them, says the narcissist who plays every character that he writes. But Danielle knocked it out of the park each time. She's directing now, and I'm hoping that we have the chance to see each other at a convention sometime. Now, in Neighborhood Watch, I wanted a story where girls were at the center stage and dealing with the prejudices around them. As you can tell in the first episode, I struggled through the whole chronicle to find Madge's voice, and I still don't think that I walked away with it 100%. Some of the themes that I wanted to play with were where you draw the line, evil being self-defined, and individual versus society. The Catholic Church and local Southern evangelical Bible thumpers are brought up as primary antagonists, as religious and dedicated men are seen throughout Madge's life as instruments of ire against her. Yes, Madge was most likely gay, but never had the societal encouragement to understand, vocabularize, or accept that part of herself. I tried to mirror the persistent ideas of the old-style witch hunt. Witch hunts infest and intrigue a lot of our understanding of female victimization today. I did my best not to include a rape scene or a direct victimization scene, and I'm glad we got away with what we did. I wanted Madge to be in the center of a maelstrom she felt that she had little control over, suspicions but never direct answers. Which brings to the question, who was Gillian Creed, or Madge Guthrie? She's an older, shorter woman who looks like a chewed leather and rusty-nailed fruit strip. When I just got out of college and my first restaurant job, I worked with a Mexican woman who worked next to us in the kitchen. She was on the salad and soup station, and I was running the line as a food runner. Total sweetheart, but she was completely box-shaped, as David Sedaris once described someone, just as wide as she was tall. While composing Madge's character, I always thought of body types and people you'd never expect to turn out to be hunters. Suddenly, this old coworker came to mind, and Madge was built from that. I had had the idea to pull in more Guthries, or have some of them move up into the north, or even have her starting to fight Clyde, or maybe have some of them related to Robbie Crutch from our Sin Eater story. But it never felt appropriate to shoe in that story, especially after episode 3, because it was clearly Madge's desperate gamble, and I wanted every Pyrrhic victory to be hers, and really hers alone. A lot of satellite characters and factions are getting involved, and this story opens up a lot of possible venues for future stories. The life mage who spends all of her time in the diner, the sewer-based gangrel cat lady, the Union itself, the lone demon pilot, as he returns to pick up some other mysteries. Mr. Midnight is now human, now mortal. He must be hunted or haunted by something. Lots of different places for us to go and explore for fans of the characters, and the world of modern-day queens that we've kind of created together over the months as we listened in. Hunter is a great exercise in stereotyping and dangerous thinking. Bleh, it's just a vampire. Then you play vampire and you learn the different sects and the different clans. Bleh, it's just a Nosferatu. Then you play a character who didn't want to become a Nos, but is putting her best foot forward anyway. Bleh, it's just a Nos working for the Invictus. What a sellout. And so on, until you play that character, you don't get to see them as a person. I don't mean to get political, everyone, but a lot of RPG folks, like myself, are diving in deeper to escape the swamp of social media brought on by this current president and his administration. Even the winners are gonna feel like losers and that they've been cheated this time around. In the Chroniclers of Darkness, I try to ask, where can true evil hide in a world full of cameras and live streams? They seem to be doing a really good job in C-SPAN, but But the most important question you should always ask yourself is, where does goodness live? Where does it lie? Where does it hide? Believe it or not, inside all of us. Goodness comes when a neighbor checks in on another, or calls the police when there's a scuffle outside. Goodness is inside all of us. We just have to remember for 10 seconds what it is to be in someone else's shoes. As you feel their fatigue empathetically, you see their hunger, their sadness, and their hopes. And speaking of sadness and hopes, this is where we get to the bulk and the announcement of this post-mortem episode. As some of you have found out, I have shut the doors on UncleYo.com. If you are a patron on Patreon, thank you. I will be shutting down my Patreon as of next week, so you can get that money back. This is my last year that I will be touring the convention circuit as Uncle Yo, geek stand-up comedian. I may operate and attend some local shows on occasion, but I will no longer be hustling in an attempt to land an agent or a gig or a career that simply isn't there. I will no longer try to get to a convention every weekend to pimp and peddle and press and try to sell. I have tried to make a living doing stand-up comedy separate from the conventions and even within the conventions. I will continue to operate out of Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube occasionally when the mood strikes me and Richard is available. My albums will remain on Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon regardless. But after a decade in the business, you either make it or you're faking yourself out. I am getting a full-time career no matter what. This means that, as of this episode, the Chroniclers of Darkness will be suspended, which is career suicide for any creative project. It happened to Community, Venture Brothers, it's happening now for Rick and Morty, and now it's this pet project's turn, which is I'm okay with. I am grateful that it happened rather than sad that it's over. I have had an amazing time forcing myself to write, to act, to edit, and put the best possible product I can out there. And I let it become my excuse for even getting a part-time job and trying to provide for the household. If I get onto a steady schedule with whatever my new career ends up being, I'll look into bringing it back. Meantime, you have no want for amazing programming out there. Man, from all of the Let's Plays to the consistent RPGs out there, Party of One, Glass Cannon podcast, Geek and Sundry's Critical Role, even Hello from the Magic Tavern. But I encourage you, go create your own. Game on. Include everyone. And remember that death is just an opportunity to roll up a brand new character. From the bottom of my heart, from Jimmy, from all of us, thank you so much. Live, laugh, and glomp.
The Tombstone Kings of Queens is written by Uncle Yo, produced by Jimmy Lin and Uncle Yo.
Be Kind to Your Neighbors is part of the Chroniclers of Darkness. It is written by Uncle Yo and produced by Jimmy Lin. Original music produced by Jimmy Lin.
Down the Rabbit Hole is part of the Chroniclers of Darkness. It is written by Uncle Yo. Original music and production by Jimmy Lin.
Neighborhood Watch is part of the Chroniclers of Darkness. It is written by Uncle Yo and produced by Jimmy Lin.
Special thanks to Onyx Path Publishing and White Wolf Publishing for the chance to haunt a whole new world of darkness.
Thanks for any shares, retweets, likes, and tokens.
Game on, include everybody, and remember that death...
Include everyone, and remember that death...
And remember that death...
is only the beginning.
Catch you next time.